From my perspective, and I would also say from the LA County's Art Commission's perspective, social practice is really about artists who are inherently introspective about their studio practice, but in order to really launch their work, are social and outward looking in terms of how does my line of thinking, how do my ideas relate to a context, a community, an audience, which can take so many different forms. And I believe that social practice artists create a gesture, and often a welcoming gesture, that breaks down barriers for people to begin to draw out the creativity of others and have that then inform ultimately perhaps a culminating artwork, but maybe not. In many cases, the process that is involved in the artwork creation when it comes to socially engaged artwork really is also the product. And so you have this kind of living, dynamic, unpredictability in this type of work that's really exhilarating, also very nerve-wracking, particularly for bureaucrats like myself. But I think you can essentially create the platform for work that is unexpected and is authentic and genuine. And it's really important, I think, and becoming more and more important in the work that we're doing at the LA County Arts Commission, in that, as we form these essentially shotgun marriages between artists and the committees, we really need to think about, okay, even though we're on a half-year timeline to create a design, how can we infuse this process from the very beginning, whether it's the lead artist doing public engagement or socially engaged art practice, or bringing on another artist who is really skilled in that vocabulary and that type of work, to then infuse the process from start to dedication with thinking about how are we continuing to touchstone with the community to make sure that this is a work that is embraced, or maybe it's not embraced. Maybe there's tension and there's questioning, but how do we give people voice? And ultimately, the goal is for the artwork to reflect the community, be owned by the community. But we realize that the conditions are not utopic, and there are going to be occasions where people don't feel good about the process or about the end product. But when you give people the channels to talk about that and to be creative and perhaps come up with something for the future that can address some of those questions and concerns, people tend to be really satisfied by that. And so in that sense, socially engaged artists can really serve as, for lack of a better word, I don't want to say tool, but as a means for us to generate a stronger relationship and a sense of trust within the communities that we work. So that's a long answer to what is social practice, but that's what it means to the work that we're doing. They're small, beautiful, intimate moments. They're grand gestures. We believe that even those small, intimate exchanges that socially engaged artists really know how to have within a kind of creative dialogue is just as important as the grand gesture of a monumental artwork. And they really need to come hand in hand for that monumental artwork to really thrive in its place, or as best as it can, So.
Could you give me an example?
Well, we're working on a project in Willowbrook. We've called it Project Willowbrook, Cultivating a Healthy Community Through Arts and Culture. And Willowbrook is an unincorporated community just south of Watts, the city, where the county is placing a significant investment in infrastructural improvements. And at the nucleus of that is the MLK Hospital renovation. As folks may know, this is a hospital that was at the center of some scandal years ago. It was closed down by the feds due to fatal malpractice. And the Board of Supervisors with the county are really committed to rebuilding that hospital for this community, which has really been strained by the lack of a multi-service ambulatory care clinic, which is what it will be brought back to this community. And so it's been over 5 years that folks from South LA have been having to commute to, say, East LA to LAC-USC to receive, essential healthcare services. And so it's really meaningful to bring the infrastructure in this hospital back to this community, specifically to Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas. And so part of bringing this back is thinking about the whole picture in Willowbrook with regard to streetscape improvements, improving the Rosa Parks Metro Station, which is a primary transportation hub for MTA. There is a Parks Master Plan that is underway, a transit-oriented district plan. Anyway, all of this thinking and all of these plans happening in this community. But at its core, what is Willowbrook? Who's in Willowbrook? What are the assets there? What are the challenges? And how can art play a role in supporting and enlivening these improvements? And how can we make sure that the identity of Willowbrook, the authentic identity of Willowbrook, is stamped in these long-range plans?